Our Wednesday webinars are a reminder for all of you about all of the awesome things that you're going to encounter over your first semester at the university, and also prepare you for your arrival at UVA. So each week between now and move-in, you can tune in to learn more about resources across grounds. As usual, I've got a couple of reminders and they remain consistent. The first of which is that there are deadlines that are coming up related to summer orientation. You've got some new ones related to modules that you'll need to complete before move-in. And so it's really important that you're consistently logging back into your new student portal from our website at orientation.virginia.edu, checking your tasks, making sure you're up to date and you're meeting those deadlines. And then also, as a reminder, tons of people are going to be emailing you to your UVA email address. This is for students. To your UVA email address is where you're going to get communicated to from the university. And so we are communicating directly with you students. We are not necessarily communicating with your parents. And so I will say this week that it is important that not only are you reading those emails, but you're talking to your supporters at home about the things that are going on in your inbox so that they can support you in your transition to college. That said, if you do have questions about anything that's coming your way, feel free to email our office at orientation@virginia.edu. And we'll either help you to answer the question or we'll guide you to finding that answer somewhere else at the university. We're happy to connect you to the right place. Couple things about the webinar tonight. As a reminder, we always record these things and then post them in about a week on our website. If you go to orientation.edu or orientation.virginia.edu, excuse me, and then you click the summer orientation dropdown, you'll see all of our previous Wednesday webinars, as well as the registration links for the future ones. So check those out. And if you have any questions at the end of this webinar, you can certainly feel free to reach out to the College of Arts and Sciences. Again, as a special note this evening, this presentation is specifically for students in the College of Arts and Sciences. So if you are a nursing student, an architecture student, a student in the School of Engineering, these things may not apply to you, and you will get more instruction both at orientation and leading up to it about your course registration process. So without further ado, I'm done talking. I'm going to turn it over to Dean Aker to tell you about the College of Arts and Sciences. And thank you all for joining us tonight at our Wednesday webinars. Take it away.
Hi, thank you, Sarah, and thank you to all of you who have come here tonight in what is a very wet day here in Charlottesville. Welcome to the College of Arts and Sciences Wednesday webinar. We are so happy to welcome you to the College of Arts and Sciences, and we're happy that you've decided that you belong here with us. Students call it the college, and it's the largest of the University of Virginia's 12 schools. Our goal is to provide the deepest and most comprehensive preparation that you can get for a life of engaged citizenship, creativity, and purpose. The webinar tonight has several goals. First and foremost, we want to help you to feel prepared and confident about the next 2 months as you go through the new student orientation process. We know that you are receiving a lot of communications with a lot of information and are being asked to complete a lot of tasks. My hope is that this webinar will help you to understand and trust the process, and that it will lessen any anxiety you may be feeling. Secondly, we want to help you understand the mission and purpose that shape the college's liberal arts curriculum. Understanding this will help you to choose those classes and opportunities that will enable you to get the most out of your 4-year experience in the college and best prepare you for life and work after the college. Third, we want to give you a taste of the programs and opportunities in the college so that you enter with a mind that's attuned to these amazing opportunities for personal and intellectual growth. Fourth, we know that every student's path through the college and into life is unique, but there is sort of a general and intentional arc through the 4-year experience. So I'm going to outline that today so that you know what to expect and what to look for at every stage of your 4-year experience at UVA. And also so that you don't get here in August and think that you have to do everything everywhere all at once. And lastly, we want you to understand through this webinar tonight the college's system for advising and support. We find that the most successful students are those who are willing to ask for help and guidance and who seek out opportunities to grow and to learn. So we want to make sure that you know who to go to for advice and support. In fact, I'm going to start with this last goal by introducing myself. So my name is Erin Aker, and I am both a member of the faculty teaching in the philosophy department and also an association dean in the College of Arts and Sciences. As a professor, I teach classes on the history and philosophy of evolutionary theory, environmental philosophy, what it means to be a human in relation to the rest of the natural world, what it means to live a good human life. Those are just some of the topics that I cover in my classes. But more importantly, for our purposes tonight, I'm also one of the college's 12 association deans. What that means is that I'm the primary academic advisor to students in my associations, and my associations are the Dillard and Malone associations. So every student in the college has an association dean that you can go to for help and advice throughout your 4 years in the college. So the association dean is sort of the anchor for the college academic advising system. You can talk with your association dean about your goals and your plans, the ideas that you're excited about in your classes, advice about how to choose a major or career path, any of the issues that you might be facing that could be getting in the way of your academic focus. Your association dean is going to be assigned to you based on where you live in your first year, although Eccles scholars, transfer students, and athletes are assigned to an association dean by those groupings. In addition to your association dean, every student is assigned a faculty advisor. That's a second member of the faculty who is there for you in your first 2 years. And they're there to answer your questions about the general education curriculum, to help you choose classes that fit your interests and the requirements of the curriculum. If a faculty advisor doesn't know the answer to a question, they will often refer the student to their association dean, but you don't have to wait for a referral. All association deans have appointments available every day of the week. And the college undergraduate programs and advising office, which is in Monroe Hall 101, which doesn't mean anything to you right now, but it will. That office is staffed with people who can answer most of the questions you might have about processes and policies within the college, and they are also happy to help you make an appointment with your association dean. Our faculty know that if a student needs advice or help, or if a student is missing classes or assignments or seems to be in some sort of difficulty, they can contact that student's association dean. And as association deans, we can make sure that you get to other offices at UVA that can help you. For academic and programming advice, there are directors and coordinators of the undergraduate programs. So they would be good sources of information about majors and minors and academic programs. There's the undergraduate research program advisors. There's the career center advisors. There are the professionals in student affairs. There's the Student Disability Access Center, the Women's Center, Counseling and Psychological Services. We can refer you to all of those services and sources of support on grounds. Some students will find sources of support in communities like the Office of African American Affairs or OAAA, the Multicultural Student Center, many other organizations that we can help you connect with as well, or you can connect with directly. UVA is a big school, but we try to make it feel small in the college. So do please think of your association dean as your starting place for finding answers and for getting help. You'll meet your association dean when you come for summer advising and enrollment during your orientation session. We'll be there during that session where you're actually enrolling in classes, and we'll be there for one-on-one guidance and help and able to answer any questions that you might have. So let's move on and talk about your first year experience. Academically speaking, your first year experience has already begun. You've already been hearing from the college about what you need to do to prepare for the advising and enrollment session during your summer orientation. If you're a transfer student, you're also hearing from your association dean, Dean Osmond. And so you would not be a first-year student, but it would be your first year here at UVA. If you're an Eccles Scholar, you'll be hearing from your association dean, Dean Sarah Cole. My advice to you is the same that Sarah Dodge just gave you. Please regularly check your UVA email and regularly check the checklist. You likely have a lot of questions, maybe about transfer credits, AP credits, what classes to take, how to determine your placement for your first writing requirement or for calculus or for your world language requirement. All of these questions are going to be answered through this process. All of this information is going to be provided to you as we walk you step by step through the summer advising and enrollment process. So please just check your emails, your official UVA email, your text messages frequently, perform those tasks that you're asked to perform when you're asked to perform them, and your summer advising and enrollment experience will go smoothly. So one of the first things that you're going to be doing as an incoming first-year student is select your classes for the fall. You're going to be getting detailed instruction about how to do this. And there's another webinar. It's going to be on June 26th from 12 to 1. And that's the webinar that is designed to go into greater detail on exactly how you were going to be selecting classes for the fall. So this webinar is really designed to focus on the bigger picture. Selecting classes is where you're going to have the most control in shaping your academic experience over the next 4 years. And to do that effectively, you need to understand the mission and the purpose of the college's curriculum and its basis in the values of the liberal arts education. So a liberal arts education is intended to give you a breadth of exposure to many disciplines across the arts and the sciences. It also is intended to give you a depth within a chosen discipline. That's what we call your major. And you do your major really in your last 2 years of your 4-year experience. Please note that the word liberal in this context has nothing to do with political leanings. It stems from the Latin word for freedom and refers to the freedom of pursuing academic subjects for the purposes of inquiry and development and curiosity beyond just the practical or vocational or professional or technical skill building. The liberal arts include fields from the humanities. So think about the languages, literature, writing, art, history, philosophy, the social sciences. So think about anthropology, sociology, psychology, political science, economics, and the physical sciences. So astronomy, chemistry, physics, biology. The college's general education curriculum is designed to engage you in questions that go beyond just one single discipline, to get you to pursue your curiosities and develop as a leader and as a citizen. We want you to gain skills and knowledge to be able to analyze, to collaborate, and to persuade. Here's some current students talking about their experience with the college's liberal arts-based general education curriculum.
Because in the video it mentioned that they still have a higher rate of survival because like that gene still protects them against malaria.
We could qualify this and say instead of die, we could maybe say shorter life. Okay, but absolutely, it may give some short term.
A liberal arts education, as I've learned through the new college curriculum, is all about creating knowledge and not just receiving it.
It should be something that's not only preparing you for a professional study, it's something that should be preparing you for life.
These classes have helped me form a more concrete opinion of who I want to be.
So the seminar style course was really different than anything I had taken. A lot of it was us having to consider these challenging questions of these broad fields of inquiry and really try to learn from our peers and from our professor. It's a different classroom to be in the best way possible.
It's going to be actually exploring and figuring out real deep questions that might not have an explicit answer.
It was just more than just a class in that sense for me, and it really changed the way I look at my own opinions and the opinions of my peers.
It's a good class in which I had to design and carry out a case study research project. It allowed me to put that on my resume, and now I'm working for a professor doing research with him as a second year who's not even declared a major.
I think the College Fellows are maybe the biggest selling point for the new curriculum.
The fellows have a lot of leeway and a lot of bandwidth in deciding what their class is going to be about. They teach what they're passionate about, and that was something that I personally adored about this curriculum.
We learned about gender in my Sarah course class, and that was really fascinating in a way that only she could explain it and that she was really passionate about it.
They're really, really accessible and really interested in the whole project that we've been taking on with the first year experience.
My first professor was Tico Brown, and he's just the most low-key, chill guy. So I was like, oh, you're a college fellow?
They really wanted you to come to office hours. They really wanted to be there after class. They wanted to hear our questions.
These are really great teachers and professors, but they're also really cool people.
It's really cool with the smaller class sizes that you get to connect with the professor in something that they're really passionate about. I would say that the new curriculum was worth it alone for being able to interact with these professors.
They knew what you were going through, and they were on the journey with you. There we go. They were on the journey with you. So they are also trying to figure out the questions, and it's a collaborative effort.
They're trying to let us take ownership of our education. It's, the students sort of drive the class in a very large way, and that's been a really cool experience and has made me feel like my voice has a really big role in my education at UVA, which I think is phenomenal.
It was exactly what I wanted it to be. It was exactly everything that I could have hoped and dreamed of a curriculum to be like, just because it was so open and everyone was so honest and passionate. That's the reason for me.
It's still an open question. And that's what I think is so cool when we think about this stuff, is how many open questions there still are to be addressed.
So what those students were mainly talking about were the engagements courses. So the general education curriculum in the college, this is your first 2 years of study, consists of engagements, literacies, and disciplines. So just starting with the engagements classes, these are really the foundation of your UVA general education experience. You're going to take 4 of these classes in your first year. They are 2-credit classes, so you take 2 in your first semester, each 7 weeks apiece, and 2 in your second semester. Again, each is 7 weeks long. In your engaging aesthetics class, you're going to be exploring, the goal of these classes is to help you explore our world through the lens of human creativity in its many forms. So you're going to be exploring how artists' work provokes our most visceral emotional responses and invites us into engaged intellectual reflection and interpretation. There's a lot of different engaging aesthetics classes to choose from, but each of them, whatever their different topics, have that as their overarching goal. You'll also take an ethical engagements course. The ethical engagements courses, and I'm partial to these because I actually teach one of them. I'll be teaching one in the spring called The Traveler's Dilemma, about the ethics of travel in the 21st century. But in general, your ethical engagement class is going to ask you to reflect on and deliberate about your life as an ethical agent. So you're going to encounter questions of right and wrong, liberty and obligation, justice and mercy. In your third engagement class, the Engaging Difference class, you're going to be examining how people produce and perceive and negotiate difference in all of its forms. So you'll also be touching on the issue of how we can live with one another in a pluralistic world that's full of difference. And in your fourth engagement, your empirical and scientific engagement, you're going to be learning how to help make sense of the world and the cosmos by analyzing observable evidence and using formal and quantitative reasoning. So in addition to your 4 engagements classes, you're also going to be choosing classes in the literacies and the disciplines categories. In the literacies, you'll take 2 classes that focus intensely on the writing process, your first writing requirement and your second writing requirement. You'll attain intermediate level proficiency with a language other than English. And you'll take 2 classes that will teach you quantification, computation, or data analysis skills. These core literacies are absolutely essential in the world today. And the disciplines component, the classes that fall under the disciplines component of the general education curriculum, these vary widely across all the departments of the college. In selecting classes that satisfy each of the disciplines categories, I would advise you to focus on classes that either fit with existing interests or that just spark your curiosity. You might choose something that seems really out there for you, or you might, for a particular discipline category, you might be taking a class that's foundational to the major or the minor that you're going to declare at the end of your second year. But the disciplines are where you get that breadth of the general education curriculum. Here's a great example. I'd like to show you a video of a class that maybe doesn't feature on the list of prerequisites for medical school, but there is some really serious intellectual shaping going on in this class. So let's hear Professor Carson talk about
if you read a poem or you listen to a song and then you catch a pattern, it felt like you were solving a puzzle. It feels like magic. That was the thing that drew me to making music. My name is A.D. Carson. I'm assistant professor of hip hop in the Global South. I am a rapper, try to make art that hopefully people listen to. As a young student, of course the creative stuff was encouraged, but it was always extra. It felt to me like it shouldn't be extra. It felt like it was the thing. I believe that art is necessary for us to be able to interpret the world in ways that will connect us to other people. The students come from all across the university, varying levels of experience and expertise, and I find them to be really curious. And I think that curiosity is probably the best thing that you could have as a hip hop artist or as a person who's looking to study anything. Where we really get down to business is when we have our open hours, when everybody is there and they're just bringing their questions, they're bringing their music, they're bringing their ideas. It's really, really helpful time, the unstructured time to just be in a room with creative people making stuff. They have so much to bring to our conversations about knowledge production, about argumentation, about what's happening in the world right now. How do you make an expert in something that has been historically excluded from the space? It's a question that I hold about myself, and it's a question that I continue to hold about hip hop and academia. How did we get here? And what makes the work good? What makes the work valuable? What makes the work rigorous? There are lots of classes that I've been in and that I've taught where I just went to do my work and then I left and I didn't know anybody, didn't know anybody's name. I hope that it's impossible for students to come into my class and not learn each other's names and learn about one another. And so it's not just a matter of creating a connection between me as an instructor and them as students, but it's a connection between them as people who share a community, not just in the classroom, but at the university and eventually, the world.
I love this video because you can really see in this video how Professor Carson epitomizes those habits of intellectual curiosity, unbounded creativity, those absolutely crucial qualities for anyone who wants to improve the world, who wants to help create new knowledge or build human capacity in some way. And you can also see how much he loves his students and really enjoys being with them. And that's really typical of all the professors, all the college fellows who teach in the engagements part of the general education curriculum. Also, some exciting news, if you haven't heard, Professor Carson is going to be our speaker at the engagements event in the first quarter. So I'm personally really looking forward to that. Here's another professor talking about what they hope students will gain from taking their class, and also some of the students talking about what they learned in this very interesting class.
I had never taken an art class before. I really want to try something different. I want to get my hands dirty.
This class was my very first introduction to sculpture. I know I'm going to be doing something with clay, but sculpture was definitely much more than clay.
I'm really interested in making as a form of thinking, that the process of working with your hands can create knowledge.
One of the first things that we did was we made an egg.
It's a simple idea. You can sort of hold it in your head, and the egg form can mean lots of different things to people.
After we had finished our eggs, then we went to the professor's house and had it fired in his fire pit.
Bill had given us an idea of what the eggs were going to look like. We had to say goodbye to this egg because it was going to come back very, very different. I was really happy when I saw my egg. That completely blew me away. I was like, wow, did I actually make this?
It was amazing to be here, to work with my hands, to look at art in a different way.
I'm hoping that it teaches them about process, about how things become over time.
It's okay to start not knowing what your final product should look like. The process just naturally moves you to the finish line. I find it mentally exhilarating.
One of the great things about being a college fellow is hearing about all of these classes, but then I want to take them all. So I wish I could. So another thing that you're going to be doing in your first year, in addition to exploring all of these exciting classes, is thinking about what you might want to major in, talking to your association dean or the director of the undergraduate programs you're interested in, and finding out what classes you need to take to be in a position to declare that major at the end of your second year. The classes I'm referring to, we refer to as prerequisite classes. They're classes that you have to take before you can declare a major. Some majors have only a couple prerequisite classes, others have quite a few. So you absolutely do not need to know what you're going to major in right away. But it's still good to be kind of looking around and seeing what you're interested in or what you might be interested in, so you can find out what those prerequisites are for the major, so that you can make sure if you are interested in something that you know what you need to be taking in your first and second year to make sure you're in a position to declare that major at the end of your second year. One thing to also be aware of is that some majors require an application in your second year. They only accept a limited number of students, so be sure you're aware of that. If you're interested in a major, that you know whether it requires an application or not. Most don't, but some do, so it's always good to know that. There's a majors fair every fall, and the first year is absolutely not too soon to visit that, to talk to the representatives from the different majors and minors and programs. In addition to general education requirements and prerequisites for majors, some students are going to be taking classes that are going to allow them to apply to professional schools like medical or dental school after graduation. So if that's something you're interested in, you might also want to be taking some of those pre-health requirements, those classes that say medical school or other health professions require their students to have taken before you can go to medical school. In your first year, you're also going to be settling into those habits that are going to make you a successful student. Regularly attending office hours of your professors and your teaching assistants. Office hours are very, very normal. when you're at the university. People go to office hours. It doesn't mean that you're in trouble or you don't understand anything. Oh, that's perfectly good reason to go to office hours. It's just very, very normal to go to office hours to get help, to find out more about the material you're learning about in your lectures. So make it a habit to get to know your professors and go to their office hours. You're going to be learning and adopting time management habits in your first year. You need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself physically and mentally, and making time for social engagement as well, whether that's through friendships or community involvement or groups that are dedicated to recreation or hobbies or interests that you might have. As you move into your second year, you'll be making sure that you're on track to declare a major by continuing to take prerequisite classes. You'll also be taking general education classes in the literacies and in the disciplines. I advise you to visit the Majors Fair in the fall of your second year. That's also a great idea. You'll be rounding out your liberal arts education by continuing to find those really interesting classes that are going to satisfy your general education requirements. In the second year is also a really good time to think about whether you're going to try to fit in some study abroad, if that's going to fit into your academic plans, whether that's through a summer program or a J-term program. J-term is what we call January term. It's a really short 2-week term in the middle between the fall and spring semesters. Or maybe through a semester or a whole year abroad. You might connect with the Career Center in your second year. You can explore their online resources as well as their events like their internship fair. If you were too busy getting your feet under you in your first year, then in your second year, that's a great time to get involved in extracurricular organizations. It's definitely not too late. The second year is also a great time to apply to the Catalyst program. That's a program that's designed to help arts and sciences students prepare for the world of work. And I'll talk more about that in a minute. The third and fourth year experience, I'll just kind of combine. In the third year, you will have declared your major already going into your third year at the end of your second year. You'll have said goodbye to your general education faculty advisor, and you're now going to be getting more specialized advising within your major department. So having declared your major, you're going to be building on that breadth of knowledge that you acquired and the methods of inquiry that you practiced in your first and second years, and focusing more on a sort of more narrowly defined intellectual path at this point. This is a really exciting time for many students because they're taking challenging higher level classes in a discipline that they are really interested in. Generally, these classes are smaller, although like your engagements and other first year seminar style classes, you will have some small classes if you want them in your first and second years. Once you get to your third and fourth years, the classes are generally smaller. And so it's a great time to select one or two of your instructors as people to get to know better. Find out more about their research. Find out more about them as people. These connections can, first of all, just reaffirm your sense that you belong at UVA and that you are part of this great enterprise that we're all engaged in. Might also lead to your involvement in research, in a distinguished majors program, in an independent study with that professor. It can lead down the road to letters of reference or recommendation that can help propel you along in your career. Most students in their third and fourth year are going to be able to fit other classes around their chosen major. So for some students, this might constitute a second major or perhaps a minor or even two minors. Some students are going to select classes that help them pursue their interests outside their major without worrying about whether the classes that they choose actually officially amount to a second major or a minor. Either way, with the exception of a very few majors, the college has designed the curriculum to allow you to have continued flexibility in your third and fourth years to continue to broaden your knowledge. I mentioned the Catalyst program. Any student can apply for this program after their first year. but it's typically interesting to students really kind of going into their third year, because this is when students really start to look beyond their undergraduate experience to what comes next. Catalyst is this program. It's a 17 credit program. It's housed in the college, and its intention is to help arts and sciences students translate their academic achievements into purposeful work and civic engagement. Its focus is on building direct connections between your undergraduate education and your life beyond college. So the goal is to help you maximize your initial success on the job market once you graduate, through helping you build some skills, helping you with professionalization, career exploration, and applied work experiences. It will help you to build on your strengths that you've gained through your sort of broader arts and sciences education with core courses. So there's 2 prerequisites and then 2 core courses. And these core courses address real-world critical thinking, analysis, and decision-making, and also the complex skills that are required for developing habits of leadership and collaboration. After the core courses, you'll take 2 skills accelerator courses, and you have a variety of things to choose from there. And then you do a capstone. So that's just something to be aware of. You don't need to think about it in your first year, but as you try to think about how you're going to translate your degree into the world of work, this is a good program to be thinking about. 3rd and 4th year students are also often participating in research. Students in the STEM fields, as well as in the non-STEM fields, have opportunities for research at UVA. You can explore these opportunities through the Office of Citizen Scholar Development. And I just invite you at some point, if you're interested in this, go ahead and visit their webpage and just get a sense of the resources that they have and the opportunities that there are at UVA for people to get involved in research. One program that I'd like for you to know about is called USOAR, USOAR. This program targets rising first year, second year, and transfer undergraduate students who qualify for federal work study and who don't have previous significant experience in research. It introduces students to these enriching experiences surrounding research and gives them a chance to build strong relationships with faculty through paid research positions. So just something else to be aware of, another opportunity to be thinking about. So we know that as you are looking forward to your years at UVA, life after UVA and your future career might also be kind of on your mind for you and for your family. We understand that. Students and their families sometimes ask, what does the career landscape look like for graduates with a liberal arts degree, whether that major is biology or statistics or psychology or sociology or women and gender and sexuality studies, African American studies, philosophy, whatever the major, what are the career prospects there? So rest assured that as a liberal arts degree graduate, you are gaining those interdisciplinary skills, problem solving, critical thinking, teamwork, communication skills. These varied skills are going to be invaluable in any career industry that you might like to enter into in your working life. They'll also help you to gain that flexibility that you're going to need to be able to respond to the shifting career landscape and your own, the changes in your own needs as you go through life. Something to think about, research by Career Hire in 2022 in a survey of employers found that 6 of the top skills that employers were looking for were the very skills that the liberal arts degree is designed to provide. And those were skills that clustered around 6 different categories: communication, agility, self-management, interpersonal skills, critical and analytical thinking, and creativity and innovation. But don't take it from me. We have a recent grad, Ian, who is going to talk about how his liberal arts degree helped him get into medical school and is helping him thrive there.
Hey everyone, my name's Ian. I'm a graduate of the UVA College of Arts and Sciences, the class of 2022. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about the benefits of having a liberal arts education coming from UVA and what it's done for me. So like many of you, I came into UVA with a specific idea in mind of what I wanted to study and what I wanted to do after graduation. And I was confused when I got to UVA as to why I had to take courses such as philosophy and anthropology that had nothing to do with what I wanted to study or do after school. So in my case, I wanted to pursue a career in medicine after graduation, so I wanted to go in and study biology. But when I got to UVA, I was told that I had to take all these classes that had nothing to do. And at the time, I was like, why do I need to take these? What benefit does it have for me? Well, what I ended up learning is that the benefit is that it teaches you to analyze situations from a different perspective, which in turn makes you a more holistic person and candidate for schools and jobs and that in your post-grad life. So, for instance, many of the things that I have to deal with in medicine now is analyzing a patient's situations from differing perspectives and understanding that not one perspective is correct and that you have to take all of them into account when trying to treat patients with the best possible care. So that is something that I learned from taking these courses at UVA, is not only that you need to look at different perspectives on situations, but how to understand each and every perspective. So that's where I think the importance of having these liberal arts education from UVA really made a difference in my life. And continuing on, is I feel like it made me a more holistic and well-rounded candidate for medical school and a more well-rounded and holistic future doctor. So I wish you all the best with your courses and studying at UVA, and go Hoos.
So I hope that helped you sort of see how students, once they graduate, kind of look back on their experience at UVA and are able to find value in that experience. But we are getting ahead of ourselves a little bit here. We want you to enjoy your first year without thinking too much about what comes next. But we do believe that one way of helping you feel free to explore and to just relax into learning for its own sake is to help you see that the college's curriculum is designed to make sure that you are prepared for an engaged and purposeful life after college. So just settle in and enjoy it. And as you go into your first year, I did have some students who wanted to send some messages to you. These are second-year students who just wanted to give you some advice for how to approach your first year. So
what is up, class of 2027? My name is Angela Edwards, and I'm a second year, and I just want to welcome you guys to the University of Virginia. I don't want to say too much because I want you guys to come on grounds and create your own unique, special first year experience. But I do have one piece of advice, and that is to be open. Be open to anything that the University of Virginia can throw at you. Be open to taking that unexpected class. Be open to joining that club. And lastly, just be open to talking to new people, because you never know who you might connect with and what relationships might form. Yeah, just be open and welcoming. And I can't wait to see you guys on grounds in August. Peace.
And here's Alex.
Dean Eaker reached out to me to ask if I could give you all advice that I wish I had heard coming in as a first year to UVA. What I wish I heard was that I should become involved as early and as much as possible throughout my first year at UVA. Joining a club, volunteering in Charlottesville, or simply participating in class actively are great ways to do so. Your high level of involvement will create a richer and more unique experience for your 4 years on grounds. Also, while it's important to manage your expectations and workload, make sure you allocate time throughout your day to get out of your dorm room, get out of your comfort zone, and explore all the unique opportunities that UVA has to offer in and around grounds.
All right, so we are so eager to see you on grounds during your orientation. I hope this webinar has given you a good overview of your next 4 years in the college. I hope it's also given you a sense that while there are so many opportunities for you to explore, there's no need to try to do everything right from the very beginning in your first semester. There's a natural arc to the 4-year experience, so there's no need to get ahead of yourself, everything in its time. I also hope that you will reach out to your association dean early and often in your 4 years here for advice and guidance as you are carving your own path through the college. Your next step is to attend the college's upcoming enrollment information webinar. That's going to be held this coming Monday, June 26th from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. This is an online live webinar that's going to review key enrollment features of your Student Information Center. It's going to prepare you for summer course enrollment in a more detailed way. And it's going to feature college faculty and current college students who will share their academic experiences and who will be able to field student questions. So please do put that on your calendar and monitor your official UVA email to make sure you get your link to attend that webinar. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. Most of your questions are going to be answered in the coming days and weeks as you receive emails from the college and as you work your way through your checklist. But if you do have questions, please feel free to reach out to the college at askthecollege@virginia.edu. Thanks so much for coming tonight. Bye.